It is time for more of the best Galaxy Watch faces for 2025. We've got watch faces for your Galaxy Watch Ultra, Galaxy Watch 7, and any other Wear OS devices you might own. We've got premium analog, bold digital, and feature-packed hybrid watch faces that you can download right now. Don't forget to leave a comment of your favorite watch face from this episode, and let's see who comes out on top. And a massive thank you to Notta.ai for sponsoring this video, helping keep the lights on and the airs fed. So let's start strong with a bit of a throwback. This is the OMG 26 digital retro watch, and if you're into that classic Casio vibe, this one absolutely nails it. You've got big bold digits, crisp layout, and a surprising amount of information baked in. You've got heart rate, steps, weather, date, battery, all clearly laid out and easy to read. The real win here though is how customizable it is. You can switch the colors, dial in your own layout, and even turn off elements if you prefer a cleaner look. It's retro but modern where it matters. The always on display option keeps that minimalist charm, clean, clear, and easy on the battery life. I've paired it with one of my RobustGoods straps. There will be links down in the description and the pinned comments for them, but you could easily dress it up with whatever watch strap you want for a more sophisticated look. And if you did like that sharp digital layout but want something a little bit more abstract and bold, do check out this one. If you're into minimalist digital watch faces with a subtle artistic twist, the 90 Digital 49 is a quiet standout. The layout is clean and focused. You get a large clear digital clock in 12 and 24-hour formats, along with a date, day, battery life, and step count all placed neatly for quick glances. But what really makes this face a little bit special is the customizable artwork on the right hand side. You can switch between several unique designs that gives the face just enough personality without being over the top. There's also a solid set of color themes to pick from, and the editable complications let you tweak the data fields to suit your day. The always on display just strips everything back to give you a super clean always on display option, perfect for saving battery whilst keeping the essentials front and center. I've gone ahead and paired this one with one of my RobustGoods.com leather straps. I'm literally just switching between these at the moment, but I absolutely love them, so I am going to show them off to you. Now, if you want to take that clean layout and crank up the contrast and color options, check this one out. This is the Oogly Zero. Now, if you're after something bold, data packed, and genuinely fun to look at, the Oogly Zero might be that watch face for you. This watch face throws subtlety out the window and replaces it with vibrant colors, high contrast, and serious functionality. You've got two circular gauge dials front and center, one for your heart rate and one for your battery, and they look amazing against a glowing background. Above that, you get your weather, step count, calories, distance, walk, all cleanly laid out in a super easy to read fashion. Below, there's even space for calendar events or reminders, and a customizable digital clock in 12 or 24-hour formats, a feature we're seeing a lot on watch faces these days and I really appreciate. It's also complete with seconds, date, and your AM/PM as well. The level of detail here is really impressive, and it still feels balanced thanks to the symmetrical layout. Customization wise, there's plenty. You can switch between bold color themes like bright orange or stealth gray, or change up the complication data to match your needs. Even the always on display holds into that sporty edge with key info dimmed just right for battery saving. If you did want your Galaxy Watch to feel a little like a full-on data dashboard, this is it. Next up though, we're switching gears to something a little bit more refined but still packed with features. This is the SamWatch Digital 18, and it's a brilliant mix of data, design, and everyday usability. This face has a really crisp digital clock that pops visually, but then also what really stands out is the layout around it. You get a radial dial step counter right in the center, complete with a progress ring as well, and that's also surrounded by everything from weather, distance walked, heart rate, and even upcoming calendar events. It's basically your daily dashboard, and somehow it still feels clean and readable thanks to the well-balanced design. You also get small touches like battery percentage indicators, animated weather icons, and a full day/night breakdown. Customization wise, you can adjust elements like steps goals and units, plus you get a few different color options to choose from as well to match your strap or your mood. Again, I've got my RobustGoods.com leather strap on here, but you can pair this with whatever you want. The always on display also does a great job of keeping the core data visible without stretching your battery life too much. If you're the kind of person who likes to glance at your wrist and instantly have everything on show, this is one of those watch faces that's really gonna help you out. But now let's switch gears a bit again, because this next one strips back everything to the essentials with a focus on color and clarity. Now, if you did like the versatility of the Digital 18, but want a little bit more of that retro sci-fi command center look, Sandwatch Digital Final 5 delivers big time. This face goes all in on layout. You've got a sharp digital clock at the center, surrounded by just about everything: heart rate, steps, distance, calories, weather, alarms, calendar, and even a battery meter that feels like it's straight off an old school data pad. There's a week view across the top, and beneath that you'll find things like the sunrise/sunset times, your current alarm status, and even your next calendar event, all packed into a surprisingly readable layout. It's a lot of info, but it doesn't feel overwhelming once you get used to it. Visually, it leans into a green monochrome look by default, but there is a few different color schemes you can choose from depending on your mood or strap combination. The always on display strips it back just enough to save on a bit of battery life, but still keeps that cool digital vibe intact. If you're the type of person to fill your complications with just as much utility as possible, this one is really hard to beat. Next up though, we're going to go with something a little bit more modern and graphic. Now, if you do want a watch face that's totally different, one that brings a little bit of fun and nostalgia to your wrist, is the AD Albumon. This one throws out the usual stat heavy layout and replaces it with a full pixel art animation right in the center. You've got an RPG style monster leveling up system as you hit your daily steps goals. The more active you get, the more it evolves, which is a brilliant motivator if you're into gamified fitness. Around the edges, you'll still get your essentials, your time, battery life, current weather, and then your next calendar event, all presented in a super graphical layout that pops against the dark background. I love how each scene ties in with the monster you've got on display, and it looks especially good with my black Galaxy Watch Ultra and black strap from RobustGoods.com. This is definitely a more playful, character-filled face, but it still delivers functionality without feeling cluttered. It also supports an AOD mode that keeps the artwork visible, just dimmed down, so your little fire beast never really leaves the screen. And now for something completely different again, let's wrap this digital section up with a smooth scrolling animation and a super satisfying mechanical style. This is the USA Sequence 2 Animation USA 176. This one feels less like a watch face and more like a mini machine strapped to your wrist. Instead of traditional numbers or LED style digits, you've got a full-blown mechanical scrolling animation. Think split flap train station board or retro flip clock. The hours and minutes scroll vertically in real time, and the motion is buttery smooth. It's hypnotic, and honestly, you'll catch yourself just staring at it for a little bit of fun. Up top, you've got your day and date in a matching mechanical style, and below the flip display, you still find your step count, weather, and current time zone. It's sleek, sharp, and incredibly satisfying to look at, and above all else, incredibly unique. It doesn't try to overload you with data, and this one's all about the vibe. It's a design statement more than anything, and it looks incredible on the silver Galaxy Watch Ultra, but especially my black Galaxy Watch Ultra here. Always on display keeps the core elements in place and tones down the animation just enough to save a little bit of power while still keeping that industrial charm. Next up, we've not got a watch face, but a little bit of AI magic. This is Notta.ai, our sponsor for today, and also my little sidekick. So let me show you how it works. I uploaded a recording of an old client meeting into Notta just to test it out, and within seconds it gave me a full transcription, summary, and even pulled out the key questions and talking points for me. One part of the meeting, I was trying to figure out the resolution and delivery expectations for a video project, and boom, Notta highlighted that section word for word at the exact timestamp. I didn't have to scrub through 30 minutes of back and forth just to find the one thing that I needed. And the coolest part is you can actually ask Notta something like, what did the client say about the aspect ratio, and it'll scrub through the whole transcription and highlight that specific section for you. Notta also supports 58 different languages for transcription and 48 real-time translations, so if you're working with international clients, it's seriously powerful. That's why I'm starting to rely on this more and more. Whether you're a content creator, student, or just someone in back-to-back meetings, Notta helps you stay focused on the conversation rather than furiously taking notes. If you want to try it out for yourself, there will be a link in the description and the pinned comments. Now let's kick the analog section off with some serious class. This is the S4U Davos, one of my favorite developers, and it might be one of the most realistic luxury watch faces on Wear OS you can get in 2025. Everything from the Roman numerals to the sub-dial layouts feels premium. It's got that clean Swiss aesthetic with all the smart features you'd expect. You've got 3 beautifully designed sub-dials showing your heart rate, steps, and battery, and a sleek complication panel for date and weather tucked into the upper right. It supports 4 custom complications, 3 app shortcuts, and a choice of 10 different color themes, so whether you're matching a leather strap or a silver link strap, it's always going to look the part. And despite despite being analog, you do still get an always on display that keeps the layout sharp without draining too much battery. Honestly, if you're after a smartwatch face that looks like a real watch, this one really does nail it. Now, if you like the analog look of the Davos, you might really like this one. It's not quite as luxury. This one I would say is a little bit more rugged, but still good nonetheless. So this is the Davos no nonsense cousin. This one leads more into a bold military inspired aesthetic, big legible numbers, thick hands, and a matte style background that looks fantastic on the Watch Ultra's black titanium body. What makes it really stand out though is the balance between classic looks and smart features. You get a step counter, battery gauge, sunrise, sunset data, and even a little date panel that feels lifted straight from an aviation dashboard. And that really vibrant orange face just really does it for me. It's just one of several color themes available, but it's definitely one that I'd pair with a default orange accented strap. Although today, because I'm a little bit lazy, I have just paired it with one of my leather straps from RobustGoods.com again. It does also include an always on display option, which keeps everything looking consistent whilst preserving power, and everything remains clear and easy to read at a glance. Now next up is the JW279 from JW Studios, and this one hits that sweet spot between luxury and character. You've got a traditional analog layout with bold numerals, sleek watch hands, and a touch of depth that gives it a real world realism without being too flashy. What I love about this one is how refined it looks on your wrist. The complications are minimal, just the essentials like your date and battery are visible, which gives the face room to breathe and really shows off its really nice design. There are a few color options baked in, but the default is super clean, and I've paired it with a nice brown leather strap from RobustGoods.com again, and I think this complements the vibe perfectly. It's a kind of setup that can work anywhere from at home, in the office, or even on a night out. Always on display wise, it keeps things quite tasteful with a simplified version of the dial that preserves battery life while still looking sharp. Now next up, let's move on to our final analog pick, and this one is keeping things very simple but a little bit old school. We're going full on vintage with Tok. This one dials back all of the tech and goes all in classic watch design. Aged dial textures, bold numerals, and thick traditional hands that look like they came straight out of a pocket watch. There's no digital readouts or clutter here, just clean heritage styling that feels nostalgic in all the right ways. I've paired it with my brown leather strap from RobustGoods.com again, but it also works great with the black version if you did want to lean a little bit more formal. It is simple, timeless, and perfect for when you want your smartwatch to look anything but digital. Unfortunately, this one doesn't really come with an always on display option, but it will dim the screen automatically for you. Now this next one is one of the most visually exciting watch faces from this episode, and certainly one of the most unique. It leans fully into that isometric 3D pixel art style. You've got blocky digital time displays, stacked bar graphs for your calories, distance, heart rate, and even battery, all rendered in a colorful, playful, retro game vibe. Despite the playful look, it's actually packed with data, although actually quite subtle. You get everything from steps, goal percentage, current day and date, weather, 24-hour toggle, all laid out on a grid that somehow feels like a little game interface right on your wrist. I wouldn't normally wear this with a dressy strap, but as I've mentioned, I'm a little bit lazy, and I do love these straps. It would definitely suit a sportier strap better though, but if you want something that grabs attention and makes checking your stats genuinely fun, Isometric 5 is one of the most creative digital watch faces out there at the moment, in my opinion. It's definitely not for everyone, but if you want something that's a little bit more normal, do check out this next watch face. Now if you are into old school digital vibes, I'm talking Casio calculator era vibes here, Digital Retro 2 is going to hit you with a big dose of nostalgia. This one keeps things super clean and easy to read with that classic segmented LCD font right in the center. You've got steps, heart rate, dual temperature readouts, sunrise, sunset, and your next calendar event, all displayed in a layout that feels like it came straight from the 90s, but polished up for Wear OS. There are pops of color along the edges which add a little bit of flair, and then the heart icon next to the pulse readout is a really nice touch as well. It's not overloaded with loads of customization, but the simplicity is kind of the point here. It's quick, responsive, and super battery friendly, and you do also get a nice selection of different color options that I'm showing off now. I've been switching between a brown and black leather strap from RobustGoods.com again for this one. There will be links down below for these, by the way, and surprisingly the retro face pairs really well with this brown one here, especially if you're going for a low-key vintage look. The always on display option does keep the vibe going too. It just tones everything down slightly but keeps the same classic layout intact. Now next up is the Night 92, and if you want something that's modern, modular, and genuinely different from every other watch face in this episode, this is the one. It's built built entirely from stacked widgets, each with their own bold pop of color and dedicated purpose. Time, steps, heart rate, weather, sleep, battery, it's all there laid out in an app grid style that feels super responsive and surprisingly intuitive. The real strength of the Night 92 is its glanceability though. You can check your sleep, your calendar, your Google Assistant status, even your battery percentage without hunting through menus. Every single tile feels like its own little app icon, and the contrast just makes everything ridiculously easy to read when you're on the go. There's not tons of styling options to choose from, but there are a lot of different color options, and I think that's kind of the point, to look clean and bold and have that high contrast look at all times to make it nice and easy to read. I've paired this with my black leather strap from RobustGoods.com to soften the playful grid design, but also honestly I think it just works with a nice minimal black background as well. Always on display wise, it simplifies the layout while still keeping the core stats front and center, so really happy with that as well. If you're bored of the usual visual layouts and want a fresh punchy interface, then Night 92 is a really good pick for you. Kicking off the hybrid section, we've got the Balozzi Glands, a face that blends analog elegance with digital brains better than most. You've got that mechanical style hand layered over a sharp, detailed dashboard packed with info from your steps count and battery to weather, heart rate, and time zone. Everything is laid out in neatly sectioned dials, and it actually looks a lot busier than it feels. It's bold but clean. There's plenty of color themes to choose from with this one, but I'm sticking with the orange accented layout. I always go for the orange. I think it looks best with the Galaxy Watch Ultra, and again it works really nicely with this black leather strap that I've got here. This combo really does make it feel like a high-end hybrid chronograph. And as for the always on display, it keeps the hands and key data visible without clutter, so you're not sacrificing style or functionality. This one's perfect if you want a watch face that looks complex but wears comfortably day to day. This one really walks the line between analog and digital, but with those rotating hand style elements and that dial inspired layout, I've shifted it into the hybrid section. The MB Watch Roll Time WFF is one of the most unique watch faces in this episode. At the center, you've got 5 really nicely arranged circular dials showing your battery, heart rate, step count, and 2 customizable fields. It's like a dashboard but organized and intuitive. Surrounding that, you've got a rotating seconds ring that gives you a mechanical vibe, and around the very edge there's a bold number track in a stylized font that really does add to that futuristic look, but also adds a really nice bit of depth to it, making it look a little bit more realistic than your average smartwatch face. It's super readable despite having lots going on, and there is just enough customization options to tweak to make it your own personal watch face. Again, I've paired this with my black leather strap from RobustGoods.com just to give it a little bit of contrast and polish, though the brown version would also look great with this as well if you're leaning to a more casual look. And the always on display, it keeps the main design intact with minimal brightness, so it does look really smart while saving a little bit of battery. Next up though, we've got something a little bit more playful, a little bit more animated, and very weather focused. This is the Adventure Weather Watch face, and this one's got personality. It's bold, it's sporty, and built around the idea of getting outside, with a huge animated landscape taking center stage that changes depending on the time and weather. At the top, you've got the real-time weather and temperature, and then just below, a bold digital time readout surrounded by your core stats, your step count, heart rate, calories burnt, all cleanly organized and super easy to glance at. It also gives you your location-based info like your distance walked and your time zone, so it's not just a pretty face, it's practical too. The bold colors and blocky font style give it a really nice rugged outdoor feel, especially with the sun tracking arc across the top half. Again, I know some of you do skip through the video, so if you have missed it, I've paired this with a black leather strap from RobustGoods.com. Again, I know you guys skip through these videos quite quickly, so you might have missed where I got that from. I have put links in the pinned comment and the description for you if you want to grab one for yourself. But I've gone for this watch strap because it just goes really nice with the deep blacks on this watch face and gives it a bit more of a minimal-esque feel. That being said, it would also look great with a nice silicone band if you are heading out for an actual hike. Leather probably isn't going to cut it there. Anyway, the always on display is present. It tones everything down really nicely whilst keeping the core data visible so you don't lose that field ready vibe when the screen dims. If you do want something that looks like it belongs on a trail but still gives you all of the smartwatch features, then this one is a no-brainer, and I really do like that weather touch. It's a really nice feature to have. Anyway, next up we've got a hybrid watch face that leans a bit more industrial with a layout that feels like a sci-fi control panel. Now next up is Strike. Now this one is from a developer I don't think I've come across much before, but I'm really loving this watch face and it kind of looks like something straight from some tactical gear. It's sharp, industrial, and absolutely packed with clever design touches, and it makes it feel like a control panel for your wrist. You've got analog hands layered over two bold gauge style dials for your step count and heart rate, with a digital time readout and battery indicator tucked cleanly into the lower section. It's detailed without being messy, and the symmetry here makes it feel balanced despite all the info that it's showing. Up top, you've got a slick date panel in a retro futuristic style along with your location and time zone. It looks right at home on your Watch Ultra, especially with a rugged silicone strap, but again, I am lazy, so I've just kept my black leather strap on from RobustGoods, and you know what, it does work surprisingly well. The always on display option just dims it down to a clean layout, keeping your analog hands and digital time visible without overwhelming the screen, which is exactly what you want from a watch face like this. To wrap up the hybrid section, we've got the Oogly Army. Now this one's built like a digital command center with the right amount of analog flair. The design centers around a rugged military style layout with a slightly weathered texture that gives it a bit of character. You've got a digital time readout dead center, surrounded by everything from steps, heart rate, distance walked, and your battery life, all neatly broken into segments and laid out in a way that's super readable. There's also a rotating dial element for the day and date that adds a touch of analog movement, which is what pushes it into the hybrid territory. It's got presence, it's got detail, and it doesn't shy away from being bold. Now I've paired this with my black leather strap again from RobustGoods. Seem to be keeping this one a lot recently. It just tones down that tactical look just ever so slightly, but if you really want to lean into that rugged aesthetic, a nylon or rubber strap would also go really nicely with this watch strap. I'm just too lazy to switch mine out. As for the always on display, it holds the core layout beautifully, dimming things down just enough while keeping it totally legible. If you are into that tech military style but want something that still feels a little bit premium watch face, this one's a great one to end this section, and it's the Illuminator Hybrid Legacy from our Developer of the Year 2024. Now if you are after something that feels like a vintage dashboard or a piece of steampunk tech, this one is absolutely spot on. You've got a beautiful analog digital blend here, glowing amber digital readouts at the top and bottom, paired with dual mechanical style dials for your battery and heart rate. It's got texture, depth, and just the right amount of glow to make it feel special on the wrist if you go for one of the, I guess you could say, signature night modes that come with all watch-based watch faces, or at least the recent ones anyway. The analog hand sweeps over layered sub-dials and still manages to stay clean and balanced. Plus, the copper tone palette, if you do choose that color option, looks especially premium. I've tried this one with both my brown leather strap and black strap from RobustGoods.com again, which complements it perfectly, but black would give it a sharper contrast if you did want to go down that route. It also has a really solid always on display mode that keeps the essential glow and layout visible even when dimmed. You're not going to lose the charm when the screen sleeps, which is key for a watch face like this. If you do love old sci-fi, aviation instruments, or anything with that warm illuminated look, this one will really keep you coming back. Now next up in this section, we've got the SMO Hybrid Tough, and as the name suggests, this one's built to look solid, structured, and seriously ready for action. It combines bold analog hands with a rugged circular layout filled with layered info blocks. Your steps, distance, heart rate, battery, and weather all laid out diagonally for a bit of visual flair. The design is symmetrical but aggressive, and everything is tuned for at-a-glance readability. There's a rotating weekday ring in the top left that adds a cool analog feel, and the color scheme here leans to the military direction. Greens, grays, and deep blacks, which all look perfect with the Watch Ultra's hardware. Again, I've paired this with a black leather strap, which gives it a slightly elevated look, but you could easily swap it to a rubber strap if you're actually heading outdoors. It's customizable, responsive, and one of the better looking tactical hybrids we've seen lately. The always on display also keeps the vibe strong with a dimmed version of the main layout that's still totally functional. Next up, I've got over 20 more Galaxy Watch faces for you to check out, or you can check out my most recent review of the Galaxy Watch Ultra in 2025. Massive shout out to Notta.ai for sponsoring this video. I've been Alex, this has been Tech It Easy. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.